disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now.
If there was one scandal that truly shook 2024, it was the Puff Daddy scandal, a case that once again proves that Hollywood glamour and showbiz glitter can hide the most horrible things. Sean Combs, better known as Puff Daddy, was born on November 4, 1969 in Harlem. He founded Bad Boy Records in 1993 and amassed nearly $1 billion through music and various investments. He worked with artists like the notorious B.I.G. and Mariah Carey, becoming one of the most prominent producers of the 1990s. Forbes valued his fortune at more than $900 million by 2022. He was publicly linked to Jennifer Lopez and the singer Cassie. Over the years, he became as famous for his musical successes as for his extravagant lifestyle. Those days are over. Today, Puff Daddy is the very face of monstrosity. Incarcerated in New York on wide-ranging charges of coercive exploitation, Daddy briefly appeared in federal court on Wednesday, December 18th, where he is scheduled to stand trial in the spring of 2025. An influential figure in hip-hop and the music industry, Puff Daddy, now 55, arrived wearing wrinkled prison-issue pants and a shirt and smiled broadly at several of his children present in the Manhattan federal courtroom. He is set to be tried beginning May 5, 2025, for charges related to orchestrating forced intimacy, extortion, and transporting individuals for the purpose of prostitution. Charges he has pleaded not guilty to, maintaining his innocence. He faces a potential life sentence. Targeted as well by civil lawsuits from more than 120 alleged victims, the rapper is accused of using his empire to maintain a violent network of coercive exploitation. Known for his lavish parties in the 1990s and 2000s, he is now described by alleged victims as a violent predator who used alcohol and drugs to force them into submission. On November 16, 2023, R&B singer Cassie Ventura filed a bombshell lawsuit with allegations so shocking it included a trigger warning. Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was accused of forced intimacy and coercive exploitation by his ex-girlfriend, who described him as vicious, cruel, and controlling. Cassie alleged these incidents occurred throughout their 10-year relationship, claiming she endured savage beatings triggered by Diddy's uncontrollable rage. The lawsuit asserted he plied her with drugs and pressured her into days-long intimate encounters with male workers, practices dubbed freak-offs by Diddy, now reflected in the federal indictment against him. Combs vehemently denied these claims, then settled with Cassie the very next day for an undisclosed sum. But within the following week, just as the deadline approached for New York's Adult Survivors Act, extending the statute of limitations for survivors of intimate abuse, 2 more alleged victims filed suit. It is believed Cassie's accusations emboldened these new women to speak up. On November 23rd, Joy Dickerson-Neal claimed Combs drugged her and forced her into intimacy when she was a student at Syracuse University in 1991. The next day, a Jane Doe, later identified as Lisa Gardner, alleged Combs and R&B singer Aaron Hall plied her with drinks and coerced her into an intimate act when she was only 16. Combs and his lawyers labeled the suits a money grab, accusing the women of seeking financial gain. Nonetheless, fractures began to appear in Combs's entertainment, liquor, and fashion empire. Days after the third lawsuit, Diddy stepped down as chair of his cable network, reportedly a direct result of the allegations. Dozens of companies began cutting ties. The dominoes continued to fall. Another lawsuit from a different Jane Doe, accusing Combs and 2 others of giving her drugs and alcohol, and taking turns imposing forced intimacy on her when she was 17. The very day that lawsuit was filed, Combs posted a statement on Instagram broadly denying all the mounting allegations, insisting he did not do any of the awful things alleged and vowing to fight to clear his name. A month later, a male accuser, music producer Rodney Jones, alleged Combs groped and harassed him, insisting that Jones take part in forced encounters with hired workers. Diddy's attorneys denounced those accusations as filled with blatant falsehoods. But it was on March 25th that a dramatic scene played out on both coasts. Federal agents in tactical gear, supported by armored vehicles, raided Combs's mansions in Los Angeles and Miami as part of a coercive exploitation investigation. Two of his sons, home at the time, were briefly detained. Combs's attorney later described the raids as a gross overuse of force. According to the indictment, agents seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 AR-15s with defaced serial numbers and a drum magazine. Here's an exclusive clip of TMZ's video of the raid. Following the raid, Combs's attorney, Aaron Dyer, condemned the show of force and the alleged coordinated media coverage. Yesterday, there was a gross overuse of military-level force as search warrants were executed at Mr. Combs' residences. There is no excuse for the excessive show of force and hostility exhibited by authorities or the way his children and employees were treated. Mr. Combs was never detained but spoke to and cooperated with authorities. Despite media speculation, neither Mr. Combs nor any of his family members have been arrested, nor has their ability to travel been restricted in any way. Combs continued to maintain his innocence, but the lawsuits and legal obstacles mounted, implicating not only Diddy, but also his family members and associates. He and his son were accused of pressuring a female worker on Diddy's yacht into non-consensual acts, another claim his team denied. Later that month, Combs's attorneys tried to have large parts of Joy Dickerson-Neal's lawsuit, and the earlier suit by the Jane Doe, who said she was 17 at the time of her forced encounters, dismissed. His legal representatives again called the allegations offensive, horrendous, and false. Despite these efforts, the pressure on this once powerful mogul, who had long prided himself on status, prestige, and power, continued to grow. A master at spinning narratives, he was now losing control of the storyline. On May 17th, new surveillance footage obtained exclusively by CNN seemed to back up some of the abuse allegations. CNN aired the now infamous video showing Diddy, dressed only in a towel, attacking, beating, and dragging Cassie Ventura through a Los Angeles hotel hallway after an alleged freak-off. This 2016 incident, described in Cassie's lawsuit, included allegations that Combs paid hotel security to cover it up. The footage became key evidence in the federal case against him. Days later, Combs issued his first and only public apology.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life, but sometimes you gotta do that. I was I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
But by then, the train had fully derailed. Awards and accolades were rescinded, business partnerships collapsed, federal charges became inevitable. Cassie thanked the public for their support, saying that the massive outpouring had finally created a space where her younger self felt safe, and the storm was only intensifying. More suits followed, including claims from Danity Kane member Dawn Richard, alleging psychological and physical abuse, all of which Combs's team denied. In early September, while Diddy was battling his accusers in civil court and asking a judge to throw out Rodney Jones's suit, he traveled to Manhattan in anticipation of a federal indictment. The weekend before his arrest, News Nation published an exclusive photo of Diddy with his attorney and son in Central Park. The next day, he was seen smiling and taking selfies with fans while out with his family. That cheerful front ended dramatically the following night at his Manhattan hotel. Surveillance footage captured the moment Homeland Security agents approached him at the Park Hyatt, placing the one-time near-billionaire in handcuffs and escorting him out the main entrance. His legal team was incensed. "He came here to turn himself in," one lawyer said. "Why doesn't the government want him to turn himself in?" "Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go in, they arrest him. Mr. Combs is a fighter. He's going to fight this to the end. He's innocent." Combs was denied bail twice in the next few days. 2 federal judges deemed him a danger to the community, as well as a risk for obstructing justice and intimidating witnesses. They ordered him to remain in custody until trial. His attorneys attempted to have him transferred out of the notoriously harsh Metropolitan Detention Center, MDC, in Brooklyn, citing violence, understaffing, and miserable conditions. But federal judges insisted he would stay put at least until trial, which might not begin for many months. The explosive opening pages of the federal indictment outlined the government's case in dramatic fashion, alleging that for decades, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced women and others to fulfill his personal gratification, protect his reputation, and hide his conduct by relying on a criminal enterprise he had established. This enterprise was said to have engaged in coercive exploitation, forced labor, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Prosecutors stated that Combs deliberately organized and oversaw the freak-offs, which he recorded. These gatherings sometimes lasted for days, involved multiple commercial workers, and included narcotics like ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, substances allegedly distributed by Combs to keep the victims compliant. He faced charges including racketeering conspiracy, coercive exploitation by force, fraud, or intimidation, and transporting persons for prostitution. Even as Combs sat in a jail cell, yet another lawsuit was filed. A woman named Thalia Graves alleged that Diddy and his head of security forced her into an intimate act and recorded her in 2001, when she was only 25. She said they videotaped the incident, distributing it among themselves, claims that mirror the federal indictment's assertions last week when the musician was arrested. "I'm glad he's behind bars, but it's only a temporary relief," Thalia Graves stated at a press conference at her attorney Gloria Allred's office in Los Angeles. "The pain you feel inside after experiencing a coerced violation is incredibly deep and hard to describe. It goes well beyond physical harm," she said, still expressing trauma from what she had endured. The hip-hop star's indictment has the entire showbiz world on edge. "Other big names may soon topple," warned Tony Buzbee, attorney for the rapper and producer's alleged victims. "We're soon going to unveil more names than just Combs, and there are many. Influential people will be exposed and terrible secrets revealed," he declared at an October press conference in Houston. Between the 1990s and 2000s, Sean Combs was known for his music as well as for his legendary white parties at his home. All the big names in music, film, television, and even politics attended these events. However, the P. Diddy legal scandal now reveals the existence of other gatherings, the freak-offs. In her lawsuit, ex-girlfriend Cassie describes how the rapper forced women to take part in elaborate intimate performances involving both male and female workers, all under the influence of drugs. Often Diddy would watch, gratify himself, and record these scenes, according to the indictment from Manhattan's federal prosecutors. Since these revelations, photos from his high society parties have been scrutinized, and participants are under suspicion for having witnessed or taken part in these freak-offs. Old pictures show actor Leonardo DiCaprio, champagne in hand, sitting on a bed next to Puff Daddy in 1998. Also present are ex-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez in 2000, as well as reality TV stars Paris Hilton and Kim Kardashian in 2006. Actor Ashton Kutcher was once photographed suspended on a swing above a pool at the rapper's lavish villa in 2009. Prince William and Prince Harry have also been mentioned. For years, they were reportedly invited to Combs's famous parties, though they never actually attended. Diddy made a point of always inviting them. All these invites were politely declined, and after William got engaged to Kate, Diddy realized it was better to stop. American journalist Christopher Anderson recently told Fox News, The couple, Beyoncé and Jay Z, longtime friends of P. Diddy, also came under scrutiny. On October 2nd, Piers Morgan hosted singer Jaguar Wright, who called Sean Combs a monster and a victim-making machine. She claimed Beyoncé and Jay Z committed acts similar to P. Diddy's. Jaguar Wright even compared Jay Z to convicted abusers like Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. Lawyers for Beyoncé and Jay Z swiftly denied these accusations and succeeded in having Jaguar Wright's remarks removed from the interview. Piers Morgan publicly apologized. This immediate denial from Beyoncé and Jay Z's lawyers underscores their fear, and the fear of other global celebrities, of being associated with the scandal. Speaking of Jay Z, both he and Sean Diddy Combs have been named defendants in a civil lawsuit, alleging they coerced a 13-year-old girl into intimacy back in 2000. The lawsuit, initially filed in October and then refiled on a Sunday in New York to add Jay Z, claims that both men took advantage of the minor at a Video Music Awards after-party. Jay Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, has described these allegations in a statement as a blackmail attempt, while Combs' attorney denies any wrongdoing. According to the lawsuit, the girl went to the VMAs in New York City without a ticket, but was supposedly invited to an after-party by a limo driver who claimed to work for Combs. She was allegedly taken to the party, asked to sign paperwork she believes was a non-disclosure agreement, then offered a drink by a circulating waitress. The lawsuit states that after consuming part of the drink, she felt woozy and lightheaded, went looking for somewhere to lie down, and ended up in a bedroom. Shortly after she lay down, Combs, Carter, and an unnamed female celebrity entered. The lawsuit alleges Carter held the girl down and forced her into non-consensual acts while Combs and the unidentified woman watched. Then Combs also imposed himself on her while Carter and the woman looked on. The girl managed to punch Combs, grab her clothes, and flee. Yet no one at the party helped her, according to the complaint. Eventually, she found a gas station, called her father, and was picked up. She is seeking unspecified damages. In response, Jay Z labeled it a shakedown and said he will not give one red penny, insisting these claims are baseless. His attorney added that Jay Z is entirely innocent, is not implicated in any of Combs' criminal investigations, and is neither a target nor a person of interest. Meanwhile, Combs' attorney Tenny Geragos called the complaint yet another shameless publicity stunt. Attorney Tony Buzbee, who represents several plaintiffs against Combs, has been accused of filing these allegations for attention. In turn, Buzbee denies any extortion attempt and insists that the alleged victim never demanded a penny. She only wanted mediation. He further claims that both Carter and Combs have embarked on a coordinated and aggressive effort to discredit and intimidate him and his clients. Rymir Satterthwaite, a 31-year-old man claiming to be Jay Z's son, has publicly voiced support for the accuser in the lawsuit that alleges Carter and Combs coerced the 13-year-old. Satterthwaite says he stands against bullying and would offer any assistance to Jane Doe, telling the U.S. Sun that she should remain strong in her legal fight, just as he has in his paternity case against Jay Z. Satterthwaite has recounted years of alleged intimidation, including his car being shot at, people driving onto his lawn at 4 a.m., and other harrowing incidents since his case began. Though he does not directly blame Jay Z or his team, he and his godmother have further claimed that Jay Z conspired with the courts to deny them their constitutional rights and keep them from having their day in court. Satterthwaite says he is not seeking fame or money. He simply wants the truth, and he is upset that the paternity battle has dragged on so long and caused so much harm and stress. Various archive photos have worried internet users. One example is a 2010 YouTube video titled "Justin Bieber's 48 Hours with Diddy." At the time, the Canadian pop singer was only 15 and newly famous due to his hit song Baby. In the footage, Sean Combs gives Bieber a luxury car and promises him the time of his life. Diddy, 41 at the time, even says on camera, "We can't really reveal what we're doing, but it's everything a 15-year-old could dream of," adding, "We're going to go completely crazy." Close sources to Justin Bieber, now 30, told the Daily Mail that he never should have been allowed to party with Diddy or anyone else when he was that young, claiming he was thrown to the wolves by his parents. In 2011, Bieber told Jimmy Kimmel in an interview, "I think we became friends in a strange way." Usher is another star rumored to have experienced Diddy's problematic behavior. He met Sean Combs as a minor, seeking guidance for his music career. Diddy produced several of Usher's tracks, and they worked closely together. In a 2004 interview with Rolling Stone, Usher recalled their time living under the same roof. There were always girls at his place. You'd open a door and stumble onto people in the middle of something, or an orgy with multiple people. And then, radio silence. Usher later revised his comments in a 2016 radio interview with Howard Stern, saying there were not non-stop orgies at the rapper's house, but noting that living with Diddy was pretty wild. "It was crazy. Some very curious things happened that I didn't necessarily understand," he added. So far, no celebrity has publicly spoken out as a victim of P. Diddy. Tony Buzbee, the attorney representing the rapper's alleged victims, stated on October 8 that several global personalities are now trying to distance themselves from the scandal by scrubbing their social media, removing posts and photos. He refused to name these individuals, further adding to the suspense. The entire saga surrounding Sean P. Diddy Combs is a distressing reminder of how power, fame, and money can conceal nightmarish realities. From allegations of coerced acts to claims of grooming and intimidation, the situation is appalling in both scale and severity. The legal ramifications have become global, implicating other high-profile names and industries as more testimonies emerge. Above all, this case reinforces the importance of believing survivors and acknowledging the enormous courage it takes to speak up, especially when the accused is someone so powerful. Supporting victims means not only listening to them, but also helping ensure they have the resources and protection to seek justice and begin healing. If even one person finds the strength to come forward because of these public revelations, it proves that shedding light on these dark secrets can ultimately serve a greater good.